Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Tonight we're checking out a 2021 Volkswagen Atlas SE at night. So this video focuses on the interior and exterior lighting of the vehicle. Check my channel for the full overview and test drive video. So first I want to point out, when you turn the headlight switch to the completely off position, you still have these extremely bright daytime running lights still illuminated. You can turn these off by applying the power parking brake, and it will turn these off and make the exterior of the vehicle dark. But if you have it headlights off in the off position, you can possibly mistake these daytime running lights as headlights, especially if it's not very dark outside, or if you have a lot of parking lights or something like that, parking lot lights or exterior lights, street lights, that kind of thing. Now this leaves you without any tail lights. So there's no tail lights on. There's only these daytime running lights illuminated. So it's really good to use the automatic function for the headlights. This is what it looks like with the daytime running lights on. So you can see there's quite a bit of light around the front of the vehicle, so you could possibly think they're headlights. So let's go ahead and actually turn the headlights on. So you can see the difference there. There's that, and then there's that. So you can see you have a much further range there as far as your headlights on. Turning it to the parking light position on the headlight switch, the bright daytime running lights are still illuminated here. You see these are LED, and then you have an amber side marker here that now is illuminated here in the front. The tail lights are now illuminated, and they are red in color, and you can see they kind of wrap around the side, so you can see them from the side and the back. Pretty cool design. The tag lights are LED as well. These tail lights are LED. Nice, sharp, bright LEDs. Since I don't have the headlights on yet, I just have the daytime running lights on with the parking light switch on. That light turns off. It's not the headlight that turns off, it's the daytime running light that turns off when I turn the turn signal on. So you can see it's an amber turn signal, and it's just below where the headlights would be, and it's a standard halogen bulb here in the front. There is an amber LED turn signal indicator on the side mirror. It's visible from the front, the side, and a little bit there in the back. It's actually quite bright, but it's a smaller view. And then you have LED amber turn signals here in the back. Sometimes the cameras don't do colors very well, so especially when it's really dark like this, it is an amber color, and it's different. This is the amber, this is the red. This is a nice deep red. It kind of looks orange on camera, but it is a nice dark deep red. Now I have the low beams on, and when I turn the low beams on, the daytime running lights dim, so they're not quite as bright now as before. And the low beams are this outer LED projector. So this has a projector headlight system for the low beams. The high beam is a reflector there in the middle. There's also a light for that kind of replaces fog lights, which turns on as well when we have that switch pulled out, basically, to turn that on. Also, you have a cornering light as well in the front. So as you turn, it will turn on the cornering light in the direction, if you don't have that fog light replacement turned on. As I pull out on the headlight switch, this turns on that replacement for a fog light. So you can see off, on, off, on. So there's the low beams, the high beams, off, on. So it doesn't matter whether you have low or high beams on, you can still utilize that replacement for a fog light. Now, when we have the low beams on or high beams, and we have that light turned off, that replacement for a fog light, when I turn the steering wheel, I'm going to turn it to the left, you'll see it illuminates the left side of the vehicle. When I turn to the right, turn the wheel to the right, it has a cornering light to the right side of the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it to the other side. You'll see that one go off, the other one will turn on, and then I turn it to the right again, you see it illuminate again. Now when I have that headlight switch pulled out, it just has them on all the time. Seems like they get a little bit brighter, but it's the same, basically the same light. You'll notice this whole time, this right here looks like an LED strip, like a daytime running light, so like the outer portion, plus this little reflector there kind of looks like it should be illuminated, but it's all for looks. It's really strange. I guess it's similar to the fake, literally fake exhaust tips in the back, where there's just stuff just for looks and it looks like functional stuff, but it's actually not. Looking at the cargo area, the lighting, it actually has two lights. So it's got one to the right in that little cubby hole, and it has one here to the left in that little cubby hole. But here in the middle, nothing. The only reason why you have some light is because there's parking lot light shining in here. The center is completely dark. So unless you're just looking for stuff in the sides, the center is just completely dark, especially if you have things stacked up like this. There's not going to have any light here in the middle. It's very strange to have no light in the cargo area. So that's very weird. So just in case you're wondering, there's no light up here in the center. So you can see up there, there's no light there. Those lights are LEDs, and they shine down on the third row there, which illuminate the floorboard and stuff. But or the seats and the floorboard, they kind of illuminate that area pretty well. But in the cargo area, nothing except for those two lights, and they're not even very functional where they're positioned, and they're not very bright. They look like they're not even LED. Very strange. There is a backlit button here for lowering the power liftgate. And when it comes down, you better watch out because the thing slams down. Here's another view of the lighting there in the third row. It's pretty decent, actually. It's got those two lights there and illuminates the seats, the floorboard, there on the sides a little bit. Not too shabby. Here's the second row. It has the same deal, two lights there. Illuminates this portion. The inside of the door is pretty much dark except for this one indicator for the power window. There's also backlit buttons for the climate control back here. Other than that, it's pretty much dark. No floorboard illumination. When you have the door shut or anything, it's just completely dark. So the front doors, there's no approach lights, there's no puddle lights, anything like that. So it's not giving you any illumination on the ground to see what you're stepping on. There is some backlit buttons here on the door. They're for the door locks, power windows, side mirrors, and to release the trunk. Other than that, it's completely dark. There's no accent lighting, there's no handle lighting or anything like that, pocket lighting. There is floorboard illumination, which is nice. I really like that. And you can adjust the brightness, which is pretty cool. And you have some center LED lights here. And it does a pretty good job of illuminating the interior of the vehicle. So I have the door open so you can see what it looks like here sitting in the driver's seat is with the interior lights on. That's these up here. So let's go ahead and shut the door and see what we're left with. Now the interior lights for the gauges, you have to adjust the brightness in the menu system here in the settings. So there's no button or easy way to do it. You have to go into a sub menu on the screen in order to adjust the brightness of the gauges. Typically vehicles will have a quick adjustment button. This one doesn't have it. You can see backlit buttons here on the steering wheel, and the floorboard illumination is still on, which is really nice. There's the screen, and then there's the climate control buttons and stuff. And there is a pocket in here which has no light whatsoever. Let me turn on the interior lights so you can see what I'm talking about. I gotta open the door to do that. Turn them all on. Okay, so there's this pocket right here. You see this? It goes in there quite a ways, and it's completely dark. So trying to find something there can't do it. See those cup holders? They also kind of disappear as well because there's no light there. Just might as well leave the interior lights on for right now because all this is dark, including this compartment. This center compartment has no lights in it. So when we turn off the interior lights, let's shut the door, it just kind of disappears. I mean, there's no lights there. Half expected the glove compartment not to have a light, but it actually does, so that's good. Backlit buttons up here. And you'll notice that you can turn on the rear lights on or off independently from the front. And then you can turn on each individual light here. But there's not a button to like push and turn on all the interior lights. You can have the interior lights turn on open with the door, and that's what I was doing, using the door to turn on all the interior lights. So I was kind of surprised there's not a way of just push a button and the interior lights turn on, but it doesn't have that feature. So the visors have a light and a mirror there. So as you open the mirror, it turns on the light. And that's kind of handy for a lap light, but it doesn't illuminate the center console or anything. And actually, when you turn on this light, it gives you a lap light here in the middle, but a little bit in this area here, but it's not really a whole lot. So it would have been nice if they had that. So they can add lights in the pockets. The storage compartment would be good, and that would really help out. And also a button to turn on all the interior lights quickly. Alright, let's turn on the backup camera so you can see there. It's not a super dark parking lot, but it's pretty dark and you can still see pretty good. It has the parking sensors also. Here's the pattern here for the low beams on a wall. And there's the high beams, there's the low beams, and there's pretty much a straight line across. It does dip a little bit in a spot where the oncoming traffic is, just in case you're on unlevel ground, and tries to avoid blinding people on the low beams. Now this does not have the automatic high beams, so you will need to manually turn on or off the high beams. So maybe you can see a little bit there in the trees. See, there's the low beams, there's the high beams. There's the low beams on the pretty dark road here. Let's go ahead and turn on high beams. And they're pretty decent high beams. The low beams are a little bit, the distance is a little bit limited. But the high beams have a pretty good distance as far as your visibility. The cutoff of the low beams could possibly be a little bit higher. It seems to go take a nosedive a little bit too early. Now this is good for not blinding people, but it seems like it's just a little bit lower than it could be. high beams. So you can see the high beams are pretty good. This is a pretty dark road, and I can see pretty good. It's not evenly lit. You can see where there's like patches of brightness and less bright, but it's not bad. I would say it's in the adequate range for a 2021 vehicle.